22 past 8, and Senator Pauline Hanson, One Nation leader, joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning, Leon.
Well, it's a busy week, isn't it? There's a lot going on. It's hard to know where to start, but the big headline today has been the decision by the ACCC to take legal action against Coles and Woolies. What do you make of that?
I think it's great. I haven't got a problem with it at all, and it's good to see the ACCC are actually doing their job on behalf of the people of Australia. When you have the price gouging, I think it is what I'm led to believe that, you know, when you've got products in Woolies, I think it's about 266 products, they increase the price, then reduce the price, and of course advertising the prices are down when they put them up, you know, for a short period of time. I agree with what the Commissioner is saying with regards to it, so it needs to be reined in. But Leon, there's another big issue that's been brought to my attention over the years. It's the way the farmers are being treated by the big both Coles and Woolies over the period of time. They'll do a contract with a farmer. They'll say, right, we'll pay you so much for your cauliflower per head, or pay for product or strawberries, that type of thing. When it comes to picking, then they go back to them and they reduce the price. The farmers are left hanging out to dry because it doesn't cover their cost of even picking it, because they can't get pickers in, the cost of paying pickers, then to get the product at a reduced rate, but what they're prepared to pay them. That I know one farmer, he ploughed all his cauliflowers into the field. It wouldn't pay him. So it has to go further than this, of what they're doing. They've really got the farmers by the short and curly, a lot of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the farmers and producers, the primary producers, have always been in that position where the big supermarkets are what economists like to call price setters. The farmers and primary producers have no power at all. There's a tremendous power imbalance there. And while the farmers are left struggling with a meagre income from whatever it is the big supermarkets deign to provide for them, the big supermarkets, Coles and Woolworths, consistently record massive profits, don't they?
They do, and I think last year Coles reported about $5 billion in profits that they've made over the year. But the thing is that, you know, one farmer said to me, go back to co-op, so everyone has to put the produce into a co-op, and then they can buy from the co-op. But over the years, Coles and Woolies, and this was I pointed out 28 years ago, was that the market share they had in Australia at that time was about 85% market share. I think it's somewhere around that, could be around about 80%, because you've got now Aldi and IGA. But unless we actually rein it in, so they've taken on liquor sales in New South Wales, not in Queensland, and I think they have it in most of the states now, liquor sales, but they're into now the chemist product. They're expanding, and that's why I don't ever want to see them take on more of the news agents. We've got to keep these independent shops from the main ones, Coles and Woolies, and they should be only selling the groceries, but they've closed down a lot of retail shops in the fruit and veggies. They've all gone. It's a crying shame, because then they control the pricing, so you don't have the competition that we should have.
Indeed. So we'll certainly eagerly await the findings of the court in that legal action that's been taken by ACCC against the big supermarkets. You've also raised an issue which I think has a lot of importance for many people. There's an issue with something called the Dixon Advisory, and you've called for the issue to be referred to the Senate Economics Committee. So what's the problem?
The problem is this company actually had a lot of investors into it, and the company has gone bust, and a lot of overseas investors as well as here in Australia. And so the company's gone bust, but it's moved from one company and took all their clients and started up another company. And so they're not responsible for the debts that they've incurred. So a lot of people gone under. I think it's to the tune of probably nearly for half $500 million. So these people are actually gone, have having to repay this money, and this is the small companies and businesses so that actually have to find the money and pay to recover these monies. So these companies got scot-free with of taking the clients and going to another, it's a financial services. So it needs to be investigated and have an inquiry into it, because these companies and businesses that now have to cough up and find the money to pay out, they had nothing to do with it. Yeah. So we've got to go after the company that did, go bust, do the wrong thing. So we need to actually investigate that. That's why I put this inquiry up.
Indeed. Akin to a good old-fashioned case of phoenixing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And
before we run out of time, I know that you wanted to also comment on an announcement made by Peter Dutton, the leader of the Liberal Party. One of the things that he's announced is that the First Nations ambassador will be axed on day one if a coalition government is elected. He says it is a waste of money.
Well, it is a waste of money. Paying the man what he gets, and I can't tell you what he actually gets, but I'm sure it won't be peanuts.
I know, it's probably quite generous, yes.
I can tell you what I'm used to, but to hear that he spent $145,000 in 9 overseas trips, I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and we don't need a First Nations ambassador to be pushing the agenda. Look, Leon, I've called for it, a full investigation, accountability. There's been no audits, accountability that's done into, I call it the Aboriginal industry, and the billions of dollars that's gone out, about 35 to 40 billion a year. This year alone, from the 1st of July, now another 1.6 billion in grants. Last year was $11 billion in grants that have paid out to it. There has to be more accountability. We're not getting value for money, and we're not seeing productivity or results from this money that's just going out the door and people don't know where it's going.
Indeed, Pauline, thanks very much for your time today.
Thanks for having me on, Leon.
Always a pleasure. Thank you. Pauline Hanson, the leader of One Nation and Senator, of course, for Queensland.